All right, so public land here, November 7th. Here I am hunting a little, relatively small doe bedding area. This is an area where I ran a trail camera here 3 years ago, didn't run one here 2 years ago, and I ran one in here, a cell cam in here last year. And 3 years ago, there was a nice 3.5-year-old, like mainframe 9 or 10 point. And then, like I said, 2 years ago, didn't run cameras. Last year, a giant shows up on the 9th. 3 years ago, he showed up in daylight on the 7th. Didn't run anything there 2 years ago, and last year he shows up in daylight on the 9th, and then he did show up again in daylight on the 15th last year. And both those years I had a camera here on this exact scrape with this vine. He was there a couple times in daylight and a couple times at night. It's just amazing, the historical, following the historical pictures and year to year what they do. It's amazing the internal clock they have built into their head. And if that deer is still alive, you can pretty much count on him showing up within a day or two of when he showed up last year. So that's why I'm hunting this spot. This is the biggest buck I know about this year, public land or private land, all my spots. And I did get a picture of this. I started hunting the public land harder this year than any other year prior, and setting out more cameras. And he probably was spending more time than I thought on a section of the public that I didn't really ever hunt much, because I got his picture 1.7 miles away from here, like October 20th, late October. I think it was the 20th. And had no idea he was ever making it that far away, because I figured he was spending more time on the private across the road, because there's quite a bunch of good private on that side of the road. And this is pretty close to that area, so not exactly sure where he was spending his time, but this camera and that camera 1.7 miles away are the only two cameras, or only two areas I've ever got him on camera. In between that is a lot of the public land where I have more cameras, but just the lay of the land, and I don't know why he wasn't getting in that other section. Anyways, I'll let this play out here. I did not end up getting the deer, but I ended up having, I guess you could say, an encounter. I didn't really see him, but you'll see in the upcoming video here. He shows up on the 7th, just like clockwork, just like 3 years ago and 2 days prior to last year. And that's just what I had on camera. I mean, he could have been in there at times. I didn't get him on camera, but this is a pretty small spot. If he's in here, he's in here on camera. So I'll let it play out now. Alright, so it's the morning of November 8th. I'm set up about 100 to 150 yards to the east of where I was yesterday. The winds today are supposed to be like more northwest, so I can't really hunt over there where I was yesterday, because my scent will be blowing right to the scrape, right to that nice little opening where all the deer kind of come out and congregate. Where I am today is a spot that I pre-scouted and picked out and marked a pin to come back to maybe, but it's obviously not as good of a spot. There's not near as many trails nearby me, and shooting is gonna, and sight is very, very minimal. Only nice thing is I can overlook this grass, but I can just barely shoot to the edge of that too. Yesterday, around 10:30, when I heard that grunting and chasing going on, like, I guess you could say kind of upwind to me, that was the big buck that I was after in here. I got two cameras, one right where I was yesterday, and then one about 100 to 250 yards to the south of where I was. And he was on that camera chasing some does around. I got my camera set to update twice twice a day. If I would have had it to immediate, it would have been nice to know. Because I did grunt a little bit when I heard that chasing stop, but they could have just ran out of the area or something, but it's really not that big of an area. I grunted and snort wheezed once with, I just figured it was another little buck or something, but I have not got that buck on camera in here until yesterday, the day I was in here, so I hit the timing on the head. I mean, November 7th to November 15th is when he's in this area. So I got about a week left to hunt this deer, and then I don't know where he goes after that. Elsewhere, somewhere else. Because I've never got pictures of him in here after the 15th of November. I've only had cameras in here for 2 years, and most of the time just one camera, so I could be missing some movement, obviously, but... And then I heard a snort wheeze, like in the last half hour of light. So obviously there must have been 2 bucks, because a buck's not going to snort wheeze by himself. And that was pretty close by, and then I don't think I did any calling after that, because it sounded really close. And I just snuck out of there really quiet, didn't really make much noise. I didn't really hear anything or see anything. I don't think I bumped much on the way out, but I got scent trails going through this grass in and out now. And that was not here last year, because at this point last year I was already tagged out. And I don't think this is getting hunted by hardly anyone back here, so putting this extra scent in this area might, that big buck's not gonna like that. Well, I just had that little buck come in, and I'm pretty sure he probably smelt me, because the wind is now like more of a northwest wind. He was like right down in there, and then I moved a little bit just to stretch her. I moved around a little bit, and he took off running. He was probably standing there for, I don't know, maybe even a minute before I even moved. Probably because he smelt me or something, and then took off running. I just, my trail camera over there, it just sent me pictures. I got it to update twice a day, and I got a picture of that mega giant going away from this wood lot this morning at 4 o'clock. Oh, but going back onto the private, so I could hunt out here all day, but I'm sure he'll be back at some point. But he might have been walking around over here and maybe picked up some of my ground scent and didn't like that and headed back, or he just naturally headed back. I don't know, I'll be interested to see if I get any more pictures of him on my 2 cameras down in here the rest of the year. I'm sure he'll be back, but I don't know if it pays to really hunt out here tonight. He could be in here still somewhere, but we'll see.
It's 9:30 now, November 9th. All I've seen is that little buck chasing that doe, and there was another like little year and a half, like a 6-point. He walked through right behind me again, real fast. I didn't get any video of him, but he headed over this way, the same direction that the other 2 deer went. That doe came like right to the bottom of the tree, and she was sniffing around, picked up my ground scent a little bit, but I could tell she was running from something because she ran in real quick and was like breathing heavy. And my backpack was sitting right at the bottom of the tree, and she's like sniffing around. As soon as she found the backpack, she like exploded out of the area. That thing's probably like a sponge, just all kinds of scent on that. Sometimes I bring it up here in the tree with me, sometimes I don't. I brought it up after that, but I got enough cover in this tree where another thing hanging off the side of it's not gonna, they're not gonna see that probably. I'm gonna sit here probably all day again. This is gonna be my 3rd all-day sit out here. I'm in that spot where I have my scrape. This will be the 2nd day here. Yesterday I was down this way, probably 100 yards, and then I moved over that way, about 100 yards that way. So I've been hunting the same area, the same 5 to 10 acre area pretty hard. But this is where I've got pictures of him in daylight, and this is the best setup I have in here. The woods really ain't that big. I go that way, and there is like a nice grassy opening on the other side of all this woods. But I've hunted over there a little bit, but right in here is where these does bed, and I can expect any, movement any hour of the day right here. So I might come back here tomorrow. We'll see. I might as well, because I don't know any other bucks this big to hunt, so I might as well go after this buck a little bit harder and just keep hunting, pounding this area. If he never shows back up, that was my one opportunity on the 7th when he was grunting and chasing that doe. But yeah, we'll see.